Hi, Melusi.
Hello.
Thank
Hi.
you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
So your keynote is about creating the most interesting brand in the room. And for African brands in particular, what unique opportunities do we have to be the most interesting brand in the room on a global stage?
I think to answer that question, we first need to actually unpack that Africa is already the most interesting brand. And the rest of the world is now tapping into Africa and telling African stories on behalf of Africans. So I think as a continent, we need to understand that, our stories are rich, and other people are telling our stories. And so brand leaders, creatives, we need to take ownership of our stories, know that we live in such a rich continent where it should be, I think, easy for brands to tap into our people, our culture, our values, and make really, really amazing ideas. There's some ideas that you can make in Africa that will not make sense in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've got, I call it that African magic.
Yeah. So essentially you're saying that us being ourselves and telling our stories is the way we can make ourselves very interesting. And we're already on the global stage because our stories are already being
there,
shared.
and we're just exporting, but we're not the ones exporting our stories.
Yeah.
And so we, as brand leaders, as creatives, we need to tell our stories more.
Very nice. Tell our stories more. Nice. And so far, telling our stories has to be done with intentionality.
Yes, definitely.
And it obviously means leading with new ideas. Although our stories have been told on a global stage, but like you say, tapping into our authenticity is also leading with new ideas and vision. And sometimes that can be unconventional.
Yes.
So how can business leaders influence others to buy into their vision of creating the most interesting brand?
So, just to rewind, right? The reason why I spoke about creating the most interesting brand in the room is also based on the philosophy of my agency, right? So my agency is called We Are Bizarre, right?
Yeah.
And so, and my philosophy is very simple, right? Is to stand out, you have to make hard to ignore ideas.
Yeah.
And sometimes hard to ignore ideas take some bravery.
Yes.
Right? And I think, more and more these days, we're playing it safe. When I look at the work, not just in South Africa, but on the continent, we're playing safe. And so the work looks alike. There's no innovation, right? But to be able to innovate and go further and push and do work that other people have not done is scary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the flip of it is safety breeds sameness.
True.
And sameness breeds invisibility for
Yeah.
brands. There's an interesting thing that I read the other day. It says 75% of brands can disappear and nobody would care. Right? And those are the brands that are not pushing the boundaries. They're not being innovative. They're okay with just being okay.
Yeah.
And so innovation takes braveness, and a few brand leaders that we can actually name have done that, and you can see it by the brands that they're creating.
Yeah. So essentially tapping into bravery and just taking some sort of risk on a creative and a business
and
standpoint.
yes, and also I think instinct, right? We need to trust our instinct more than anything, because it's some leaders that are great at trusting their instincts, and even if you might feel like something is wrong. So I'll give you an example. So my second Super Bowl commercial, so I was living in the States for about 8 years. So my second Super Bowl commercial that I wrote, almost bombed in research. It actually bombed in research. And the brand leader, the client, and my chief creative officer came back, and we all decided we're going to go with it, even though it bombed.
Yeah.
And we went with it, and it became one of the best Super Bowl commercials for that year.
Very interesting.
Right? So,
yeah.
so instinct is also another thing that we need to tap more into.
More into instinct. I like that. And especially when you think about instincts in this digital age, when you think about AI and digital saturation, because everyone's talking about instinct, authenticity, and audiences are now trying to say, okay, who is leading with bravery, who is leading with instinct and courage? And this is now calling for people leading with authenticity, essentially. So how can brands remain interesting and take courage and take bravery, but also not deviating from their core values?
I think brands that have, I spoke a little bit about it, great brand platforms are actually the brands that will actually, I want to say, do work that stands the test of time. Whether AI comes in, whether new tools come in, like Dove, Real Beauty, L'Oreal, I'm worth it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think we need to go back to creating strong brand platforms. Because with that, and great brand platforms are actually born from the brand's values, what the brand stands for, right? The brand purpose is at the core of creating great brand platforms. And when you've got your purpose, I call it the North Star of a brand. Doesn't matter what is happening around. There could be new things, new technology, new whatever, but you've got a North Star and you don't deviate from that.
Okay, I love that. So the North Star is the guidance for everything, whether it's new trends, new technology coming into place, and even the creative risks that one would want to take, always guided by that North Star.
100%.
Awesome.
And that North Star is sometimes so hard to find. And that's why I only named a few, like I'm worth it. There's one that I love, Progressive Insurance in the States. Their brand platform is like, it's called Unbecoming Your Parents. And right, they've been doing this brand platform for over 10 years. And only recently did they win at Cannes. And that's a powerful great brand platform, is you can create work over the years, but it keeps getting better and better and better.
Yes. I know that was supposed to be my last question, but I have another question. So in terms of talking about creating this North Star and this, and even if it can be refined over the years, how do you go about creating that North Star and creating that core purpose and identity and values that can hold you strong over the years and you can trace the blueprint over the years?
The one word to answer that is truth. Is this true to your brand and onto your product?
And to the vision,
And if not, probably not a great platform or a great promise that you can make to people. Is it true?
Yeah.
And if you can answer that, I think then you set yourself up to create a great brand and also great work from that brand.
True. I like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.